Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our City of Port St. Lucie City Council meeting. It is Monday, January 26th at 6:01 p.m. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Morgan?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Pickett?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Martin?
Here, ma'am.
Councilman Bana?
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Carvalho?
Here, ma'am.
Thank you. Please stand for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Almighty God in heaven, we ask thy blessings upon those gathered here this evening and upon all the citizens of Port St. Lucie. Look with favor on our leaders and give them the insights, the wisdom, and the patience to deal with the problems and tasks coming before them. Please bless their work and their deliberations. Amen.
Amen. The pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we don't have any proclamations or special presentations. Before we move on to public to be heard, I'd like to share our standards of decorum that we follow here in council chambers as outlined in section 11 of the council rules. Our meetings are to conduct business of the city, and we ask that all participants please uphold the principles of civility, honor, and dignity. When addressing the dais, please use proper language, direct all comments to the chair, and refrain from any personal attacks, disruptive behavior, or the use of profanity. In addition, outbursts or applause are not permitted. Each speaker will have 3 minutes, and time may not be transferred from one to another. If any of these rules are disregarded, we will provide a warning, and after that, you may be asked to leave the chambers, and if necessary, may be removed under Florida law. We value and thank each and every one of you for your participation and welcome your input. Thank you. When on to public to be heard, this is your opportunity to speak to the council for up to 3 minutes on any non-agenda related item. I do have one person who have signed up to speak tonight, Mr. Ken Kotzner. Please come forward, sir. Please state your name and address for the record, sir.
Ken Kotzker, 2042 Southwest Castanet Lane, Port St. Lucie.
Good evening.
Hi. Just one question I have for you. A couple, but I don't know why the meeting's at 6. I mean, people have work. I don't know who made this meeting at 6 o'clock. Is that standard for the township?
So this is your opportunity to speak to us. After public to be heard is over, we'll address comments or questions.
All right, so I'm concerned about the time because I have to take off work to make it. But I'm a victim of identity theft, fraud, and apparently your police don't have enough knowledge to know about credit card scam, phone scams, and car cloning. So I think we need to train your police a little more about this. I filed several complaints, and I don't know what's going on. But every time I talk to a cop, they're like, oh, you can't clone a car. Well, I've been in remote start business for 30 years in New Jersey, starting cars without even keys. So it can be done. The public should be aware of it, and we need to look into it, train these officers on what to look for. Because my car was cloned. Someone broke in my car. They took my credit cards. I lost my bank account, everything. I lost a couple of hours. PayPal, YouTube, every account I got hacked. All my apps were hacked. My phone, I had to get a new phone. So apparently this stuff's going on other towns. So we need to get more knowledge of it. Okay?
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to address the council on any non-agenda related item? Seeing no one, I'll close public to be heard. So our meetings have been 6 o'clock for a few years now. We have not had any issues in the past with regard to complaints about the time. So I just wanted to share that information. Anyone else have any other comments?
I do.
Yes.
Just to say that we used to only meet at 6, and then we changed the meetings to where we have 2 meetings a month. One meeting is at 1 p.m. and the other one is at 6 p.m. That way you kind of hit everyone, because we know that we have people that work night shifts and some that work the day shift, and this allows everybody to attend, which I think it has worked quite well since we changed it.
Yeah, and the other thing is we had them later many years ago, but then the council meetings would go so late that sometimes people would be here till 1 in the morning, and we got complaints about having the meeting start so late as well. So that was another reason why we have it at 6 o'clock. Councilman Bonner, do you have something?
I was just going to echo some of those comments. In a city of over 250,000 people, it's really hard to find a time that works for everyone. So I think the steps we took earlier to diversify the meeting times really attempt to reach as many people as we could. But you guys covered that eloquently.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Sir, the chief of police is right there in the back of the room, and you can talk to him, or he'll talk to you with your concerns. Because if you have those concerns, I have those concerns also. And I'm sure a lot of people in this room do, because a lot of us have keyless entries. So Chief Nimzik right there in the corner, he'll be happy to talk to you.
Thank you. I think it's something that's been going on for a while that they're aware of. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to additions and deletions to the agenda and approval of the agenda. Council?
Motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to approval of the consent agenda. Does anyone have an item they'd like to remove for separate discussion? If not, what's the motion?
Motion to approve consent.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We had a lot of consent agenda items. All right, moving on to item 8, second reading of ordinances. 8A, ordinance 25-73.
An ordinance of the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida, amending the comprehensive plan of the City of Port St. Lucie to include a small-scale amendment to the future land use map to change the future land use designation of approximately 0.92 acres of land from residential, office, and institutional to utility for parcels of land legally described as Port St. Lucie, Section 25, Block 325, Lots 7 through 10, and generally located northeast of the intersection of Northeast Eroso Boulevard and Northeast St. James Drive, on the west side of Northeast St. James Drive, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Council?
Motion to approve ordinance 25-73.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. 8B, ordinance 25-74.
An ordinance of the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida, amending the comprehensive plan of the City of Port St. Lucie to include a small-scale amendment to the future land use map to change the future land use designation of approximately 45.93 acres of land from 41.73 acres of low-density residential and 4.20 acres of utility to open space recreation institutional for a parcel legally described as parcel of land lying in Section 13, Township 36 South, Range 39 East, and Section 18, Township 36 South, Range 40 East, and generally located approximately 1.5 miles south of West Midway Road and between Northwest East Torino Parkway and Florida's Turnpike, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Council?
5-74.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. 8C, ordinance 25-75.
An ordinance of the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida, amending the comprehensive plan of the City of Port St. Lucie to include a small-scale amendment to the future land use map to change the future land use designation of approximately 28.81 acres of land from medium-density residential to open space recreation for a parcel legally described as Port St. Lucie, Section 46, First Replat, Track F, and generally located at the northwest corner of Northwest Blanton Boulevard and Northwest East Torino Parkway, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Council? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve ordinance 2575.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 8D, ordinance 26-01.
An ordinance of the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida, abandoning a portion of a 20-foot wide rear utility and drainage easement affecting Lot 16, Block 1616, Port St. Lucie, Section 23, according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book 13, pages 29, 29A through 29D of the public records of St. Lucie County, Florida, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Counsel? Sir.
Motion to approve ordinance 26-01.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 8E, ordinance 26-02.
An ordinance of the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida, abandoning a portion of a 20-foot wide rear utility and drainage easement affecting Lot 28, Block 2931, Port St. Lucie, Section 41, according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book 15, pages 35, 35A through 35L of the public records of St. Lucie County, Florida, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve ordinance 26-02.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 8F, ordinance 26-03.
An ordinance of the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida, abandoning two portions of a 26-foot wide ingress and egress easement affecting Parcel 2, St. Lucie West, Plat 196, St. Lucie Center, Lot 3A, according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book 76, page 1 of the public records of St. Lucie County, Florida, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve ordinance 26-03.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 8G, ordinance 26-04.
An ordinance of the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida, abandoning a portion of a 20-foot wide rear utility and drainage easement affecting Lot 17, Block 1968, Port St. Lucie, Section 19, according to the plat thereof recorded in Plat Book 13, pages 19, 19A through 19K of the public records of St. Lucie County, Florida, providing for conflict, for providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve ordinance 26-04.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 8H, ordinance 26-05.
An ordinance of the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida, abandoning a portion of a 20-foot wide rear utility and drainage easement affecting Lot 11, Block 2802, Port St. Lucie, Section 40, according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book 15, pages 34, 34A through 34Y of the public records of St. Lucie County, Florida, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve ordinance 26-05.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. 8I, ordinance 26-06.
An ordinance of the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida, abandoning a portion of a 20-foot wide rear utility and drainage easement affecting Lot 42, Block 1307, Port St. Lucie, Section 12, recorded in Plat Book 12, pages 55, 55A through 55G of the public records of St. Lucie County, Florida, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve ordinance 26-06.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 8J, ordinance 26-07.
An ordinance of the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida, abandoning a portion of a 20-foot wide rear utility and drainage easement affecting Lot 5, Block 727, Port St. Lucie, Section 18, according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book 13, pages 17, 17A through 17K of the public records of St. Lucie County, Florida, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve ordinance 26-07.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 8K, ordinance 26-08.
An ordinance of the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida, abandoning a portion of a 20-foot wide rear utility and drainage easement affecting Lot 15, Block 1550, Port St. Lucie, Section 30, according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book 14, pages 10, 10A through 10I of the Public Records of St. Lucie County, Florida, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve ordinance 26-08.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. 8L, ordinance 26-11.
An ordinance of the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida, abandoning existing Riverland Paseo multimodal easements and accepting new expanded Riverland Paseo multimodal easement, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve ordinance 26-11.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 8M, ordinance 26-12.
An ordinance of the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida, rezoning approximately 0.92 acres of land located northeast of the intersection of Northeast Eroso Boulevard and Northeast St. James Drive on the west side of Northeast St. James Drive from limited mixed-use zoning district to utility zoning district for property legally described as Port St. Lucie, Section 25, Block 325, Lots 7 through 10, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve ordinance 26-12.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item 10, first reading of ordinances. 10A, ordinance 26-09.
An ordinance amending the comprehensive plan of the City of Port St. Lucie to include a small-scale amendment to the future land use map to change the future land use designation of approximately 28.6 acres of land from limited commercial, low-density residential, and open space recreation to commercial general institutional for property located at 3500 Southeast Morningside Boulevard, generally located north of the North Fork of the St. Lucie River, south of Southeast Westmoreland Boulevard, between the western terminus of Southeast Pine Valley Street and the eastern terminus of Southeast Morningside Boulevard.
Thank you. Good evening, Ms. Grubbs.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council. Bethany Grubbs for the record with the Planning Department. The application before you is a small-scale comprehensive plan map amendment for Sandpiper Bay Resort, formerly known as Club Med Sandpiper Bay. This request is for a small-scale future land use map amendment, as it's under 50 acres in size, to modify the designation of 3 portions of the subject property totaling approximately 28.6 acres from commercial limited, residential low, and open space recreational to the general commercial institutional CGI land use. The applicants are Keith and MPLD Consulting, who are representing the property owner, Altitude Property Co. LLC, for the property address 3500 Southeast Morningside Boulevard, which is generally located north of the North Fork of the St. Lucie River, south of Southeast Westmoreland Boulevard, between the western terminus of Southeast Pine Valley Street and the eastern terminus of Southeast Morningside Boulevard. The area that is outlined in yellow is the subject of this application. Out of the whole entire 200-plus acre property, we are looking at merely this 28.6 acres. And the comp plan amendment before you is essentially cleanup to, as you see underlying in the aerial, there's existing fields and buildings and a former road right-of-way that still retains a residential low land use. And here's the acreage breakdown here. Let me just go forward one. There's no change above the red line, which is the former defunct golf course. And below the red line, only the bottom portion, the 28.6 acres, is subject to this land use. And then there's an area in between the two that is proposing sports courts and fields under a site plan application. So as I previously stated, the RL land use, there's 0.4 acres, which was an abandoned road right-of-way. It came back upon research that there's a mapping error, and Sandpiper Bay Resort property is actually including that road right-of-way as it was formerly abandoned. So we will be working with the property appraiser to include that in the bounds of their property as it's reflected on the legal description. The CGI, last year and earlier this year, the school had a land use amendment to CGI to allow for operational needs for the school and resort who are dual primary users of the property. So this is a request to have that extended down to the resort and also where the existing sports courts and fields are under CGI. The rest of the property will remain open space recreational. The applicant's requesting this amendment, again, for the city's future land use map to redesignate 28.6 acres of property for limited low-density residential, which is the abandoned right-of-way portion, a small section of open space recreational, and the majority of the resort site to CGI. The proposed amendment applies to these three distinct portions of the property and our current, as I stated before, our previously abandoned right-of-way, the southern portion of the site, which is currently developed with resort buildings and associated uses, in the western open space area currently used for sports courts and fields affiliated with the on-site academy. The amendment seeks to consolidate the resort, academy, and existing marina, which is currently leased by Freedom Boat Clubs, under a single appropriate designation. The proposed future land use amendment is supported by goals, objectives, and policies of the comprehensive plan. The policy 1.1.4.2, general commercial land use accommodates hotels and resort uses. Per policy 1.1.4.4, the institutional land use is designated to accommodate both public and private institutional sites such as schools and their accessory uses. And beyond the comprehensive plan consistency, the amendment advances strategic plan goals of building smart and connected city and fostering a diverse economy and employment opportunities. While it's not directly tied to targeted industry job creation, the amendment is intended to improve the resort and academy's ability to operate effectively and may contribute to tourism, hospitality, and educational program that broadens and diversifies the local economy. Per policy 1.1.7.1 of the future land use element, which states that the city shall review future land use map amendments based on the amount of land required to accommodate anticipated growth, the character of undeveloped land, the availability of water supply, public facilities and services, the need for job creation, capital investment and economic development, as well as the need to satisfy a deficiency or a mix of uses in the land use map. When reviewing this property and its amendment for adequate public facilities, it was found that the proposed amendment land use is expected to have a net increase in the demand of potable water by 14,581 gallons per day and wastewater by 12,393 gallons per day. And this is based off of the maximum allowed use at maximum development capacity under the proposed land use being requested. The subject property is located entirely within Zone X of the the Florida Insurance Rate Map, which is designated by FEMA, which includes areas of minimal flood hazard and areas with a 0.2% annual chance of flood hazard. There are no anticipated impacts to parks or public schools as this amendment does not involve residential development, is non-residential in nature. And the subject property contains an estimated 1.23 acre wetland that's under preservation. In the far east lower corner, you can see on the map that there's an area designated OSP land use, and that is where the mangrove area is. When reviewing traffic for the for the most intense use on the proposed land use in comparison to the existing. There is an increase daily trips per day proposed, and that's because open space recreation has a lot lower of a generation than the CGI. However, when comparing CL to CGI and the size of the development, they are comparable as the maximum uses allowed, which is shopping center over 150,000 square feet. But with that being said, with the change of OSR to CGI, there is an increase of approximately 1,800 daily trips and PM peak hour trips of 174 of an increase. Staff finds that the petition is consistent with the intent and direction of the city's comprehensive plan and recommends approval. The Planning and Zoning Board did recommend approval of the proposed land use map amendment at the January 20th, 2026 Planning and Zoning Board meeting. I did want to mention too that this land use does not change the entitlements currently on the property, which is 335 resort units, 150 student capacity, and 100 slip marina. That concludes my presentation. Thank you. And the applicant does have a presentation as well.
Any questions for Ms. Grubbs? No? Mr. City Manager, can you please address I saw at the Planning and Zoning meeting, there was a question about the City of Port St. Lucie's water capacity. Can you please address the fact that we have absolutely plenty of water capacity?
Yes, ma'am, I'll definitely address that, yeah. The city has plenty of water and sewer capacity. Currently, we have 2 water treatment plants able to treat roughly 33 million gallons of potable water per day and an estimated wastewater capacity of around 20 million gallons. At this time, we're beginning the process of moving forward with the potential design of a new water plant and a new wastewater plant in the next 5 years. So as far as capacity, there's not an issue when it comes to capacity.
And for our utility, we plan for 50 to 100 years out, correct?
Absolutely. We're in the planning phase of 50 to 100 years out, and we've always done that probably going back at least 30 years ago. We started the process.
Thank you. Just want to make sure we address that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Miller? Good evening.
Good evening. How are you doing? Rebecca Miller with MPLD Consulting. It's a pleasure to be here. And just before I say anything and go into my presentation, just want to thank staff. Staff have been remarkable through this process and worked with us so diligently and always been there for us. And thank you all for your interest in this exciting venture that we have going on in this pocket of Port St. Lucie. So I look forward to presenting to you. And I'm the tip of the iceberg this evening because there's a lot of really excited people behind me. So that this is their first public hearing for a city council. So it's great to see their excitement and the fact that they're here and their interest. So I'll get this started. Out of permission, I was hoping to do one presentation to limit the extent, and we have a PUD and as number 10E amendment as well. And if I could cover that under one presentation, is that acceptable?
Yeah, we'll enter it into the record when we get to
Okay, thank you. So as far as our representation, myself, I'm the president of MPLD Consulting, and we have Altitude PropCo, RPS Academies as applicants. We have a great design team, Keith Engineering, Simmons & White for traffic, Mang Consulting for our environmental consulting, and Brickley Land Surveying. So that's your newest company in Port St. Lucie, I think. Steve Brickley started his own firm. All right, we have a little bit about our school here. RPS Excellence. So some of the concerns that were brought up in prior meetings and so on, I just wanted to talk a little bit about here. 22 of the 123 students at RPS.
No, hold on one second. So if we're going to enter this into the record for both, I have to have you sworn in by the clerk.
Oh, yeah.
Because the next one is quasi-judicial.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sure. So out of the 123 students that we currently have at RPS, 22 of them actually live in the direct local neighborhoods. And so that's, I think, an important point to bring up. 18% of the school population. 61% of the student body live on site. And RPS is recognized worldwide as a premier sports academy. It has both international and local student athletes. The group is truly amazing, and it makes me want to start playing tennis again and working out just a little more every time I'm at the school. 100% of RPS students place. And so that's an amazing statistic coming out of high school, 100%, including scholarships to top Division I, II, and ANAI schools. So it's a really terrific, terrific program. So here, our first item agenda, we have comprehensive plan amendment. And so this is an entire site. It's a very unusual site. We have an all-inclusive resort and a boarding school all on the same property, which is not a typical, combined use, but it's something that makes this property very, very special. So it's integrating the academic and resort uses under one land use, which is commercial, general, and institutional. And the city requested, we had some old land uses floating around on our site. And as I believe it, no longer in use by the city. So we're trying to clean things up a bit. And so we're taking a kind of a mixed bag of uses, commercial limited, and we have an RL use up in the upper corner that is actually a residential use that comes with us through a right-of-way area assigned. So we're getting rid of that, and we have open space recreational. And then on the very lower right-hand side, you'll see wetlands. None of those areas are being disturbed, and open space recreation as well on the entry of the Pine Valley side. So this aerial depicts exactly where we're going to be doing our work, and our hopes and our dreams are going to be planted very firmly in these areas. And so if you see it, this is where all of the new sports fields are going, and then over on the right bottom, you have an area of existing building that we're going to be tearing down and putting a new student union on. This is what the existing northern parcel looks like, and that one tree looks a bit sad sitting out there, but this is it. And so it's the perfect spot. So our site plan improvements are adventurous. We have a bunch of different amenities coming in. We have different uses, and so I'm just going to take you through it really quickly so you can see kind of what the full assortment of activities in the future are going to be. We have a future driving range building that's at the very top. I have it listed as future rather than proposed because we aren't anticipating doing that in the very near future. Currently, our students actually golf at Ballantrae, and we hope that relationship continues and grows, so we may never need that building. I left it on there just in case. We have a proposed 21 new tennis courts, and that is all out there in that field we just looked at. We have proposed 54 new parking spots that are going immediately next to the Morningside entry, and we have a proposed relocation of a guardhouse that is to allow for this new parking lot, in addition to relieving us some of the stress of our existing entry. I'll go into a little bit later in the presentation. We have a proposed golf court storage, a small building there for the golf courts to live in. And I'm just showing you where our existing dorms are down at the very bottom. Over to the right-hand lower, it's proposed short course competition pools. So this is something we're hoping to be able to give the kids. And if not competition, then at least a lovely place to lay out and enjoy the Florida sunshine. Proposed covered tennis courts. These are existing courts, and we're putting an open air rain covering on top of them. I'll show you a photo of the kind of thing we're thinking of later on in the presentation. So some additional proposed pickleball courts. We have a proposed recreation building. By recreation building, very specifically, we're talking about bathrooms, open air place for them for refuge for rain and sun, storage area, and a lightning refuge. Up in the upper right-hand side, we have proposed sand volleyball courts. And as you can see, I've included in some green there our distance from our nearest neighbors. At the very lower left-hand side, where the new courts are going in, where the closest location is 123 feet away from the nearest home. And then at the very furthest side of the tennis courts on the west side is 234 feet from our closest neighbor, and 249 feet from our closest neighbor to the north, where our tennis courts are, and then 111 feet to our nearest neighbor, where our volleyball courts are. To the east, it is 900 feet to any homes, so that is a good amount of space. Along this entire west side of the proposed courts is an enormous landscape buffer. As you can see on this, I just really wanted to highlight how long this is. It's 550 feet in length and 28 feet wide and 5 feet high without counting the plants that are going on it. So we're doing this because we want to make sure that we're able to provide a long-range view still for those occupants of those homes on the near Morningside Boulevard, and also prevent any sort of sound from moving through the area into those folks' backyards. As you know, tennis balls bouncing, that kind of noise is almost all at ground level, and there's nothing more effective than landscape and a berm for those uses. So just to give you a little diagram of our landscape berm is also does a lot as far as also retaining and controlling drainage and water. It's also a swale. So on one side, it steeply goes up, within 15 feet, goes up to that 5-foot height. And then on the west side is a much more gradual slope into a swale that will help control the drainage. Most of the sound generated by the tennis courts, again, ground level, and hopefully you can see with those trees planted on top, your height is probably going to be closer at full growth to 20 to 25 feet in height. So just want to go over some drainage. We had some, at the P&Z meeting, some concerned citizens about talking about drainage, so I just wanted to go in it a little bit, just to make sure that our fellow citizenry and neighbors understand we've done a lot of work to get us here. So a berm with a defined swale will be constructed along the western edge of the proposed tennis courts to deter runoff from the neighboring properties along Southeast Morningside Boulevard. And this project's design criteria is subject to the latest, most stringent South Florida water management rules that went into effect actually in January. And so they're pretty tough for some new developments. So they've really gotten very stringent, and will not be approved for construction without meeting those new metrics that effectively exceed the performance of all of the adjacent properties' stormwater management design volumes. So we will be the top performing area for stormwater drainage. Runoff from the new impervious areas will be collected via underground stormwater systems and treated in the new proposed retention areas, totaling about 4.3 acres of storage east of the new courts before discharging into our existing lake system. So I just want to take you through some of the improvements we're planning. This was a part of our PUD and our site plan that's going to be heard at the next hearing. I am excited to say this building is not going to be around too much longer, with your blessing. So this building is not exactly a pillar of architectural wonder. As you can see, this was a mishmash of Club Med doing wonderful things throughout multiple years, and we think it's time for a little bit of an upgrade. So we are planning to use this space to provide the students with a really wonderful gym, cafeteria, and a mixed student union area. And that will look something like this. So 3 stories, constructed in the exact same footprint of the old building, and we're hoping to bring a sense of community to these kids who live on our campus, who grow on our campus, and who need, constant, diligent entertainment on our campus. So hopefully by providing them this new student union building, we're going to be able to bring them a lot more opportunity and offerings. So our existing tennis courts, while they are probably some of the best courts in the area, are starting to suffer just a little bit. I took this picture of the rainy side today, and just to show how unlevel these courts are and how they gather water. Ideally, that's not the way a new court will drain. And on the right-hand side, you're going to see these cracks are all over the place in our existing courts. So the school is trying to offer top-of-the-line tennis so that when they go and perform at a tournament outside of our school, they're going like to like. So their bounce is the same at school as it is on their tournament court. So we are building U.S. Open grade courts, and that is an example of the U.S. Open colors that the courts will be. But everything will be to a very high standard. The proposed covered tennis court location, again, highlighting that for you there, right in the middle of our existing courts. And this is the kind of thing we're looking at. There's a lot of different ideas we could do, but everything will be open air, and we'll have some sort of a covering over the top. We are looking at different models we can use, best practices from other local areas that have covered courts, colleges, universities in Florida. So we will be bringing that in, obviously, through permitting process. And then proposed pickleball courts, as you can see on the right-hand side of the screen, I've got those locates for you. I know some people are very excited about pickleball. All of our courts, incidentally, are open and available to our clients and guests of the resort. So they can also book lessons, things like that. So it gives the coaches at the school opportunities to earn an additional income by providing lessons outside of the hours of the school. So it's an exciting time. I know pickleball is a very, very popular sport. So this is our existing tennis court structure. Again, architecturally, not the best, and has seen better days. So we're hoping to replace this with this. And essentially, this is a building, 2/3 and 1/3 and 2/3 through the building in the middle section. Those are completely open areas. So that is an area there's going to be open air seating. There's going to be big fans turning so that they can cool off and also get out of the rain. On the west elevation, on the left side, is the bathrooms, both girls and boys. Middle section, lightning refuge. Far right is the storage for all of the sports equipment. So lots of stuff needs to get stored out there so we don't have to haul stuff back in and out of the fields. Also drinking fountains, ice, all those really important things. And throughout this court section, there's going to be a lot of misting, fans, that kind of stuff. One thing that we worry about with our kids, particularly on hard courts, is heat. So keeping those kids cool is a huge part of these plans. So there's going to be misting fans located through about every 4 courts here so that the kids can go get a little cool off and go back and hit it again. So that is the location of the recreation building. You can see we are really far away from our closest neighbors there. Existing sand volleyball courts are currently actually on the resort property, on the resort leased side of the property, I should say. And Sandpiper built them, Club Med built them for their use, and then the school gratefully took them over and are utilizing them right now. What we're trying to do is bring them all into the same area. So the kids are all in one area, and their sports activities are all in one area. Much easier to maintain and also kind of divide these two uses a little bit more. And also, I know anything that's given us any troubles along that Pine Valley entry, and so this, by removing all of the games that are currently going on there and taking them further into the resort, I think will relieve that entry significantly. Sandpiper Bay Resort, VOCO, may still keep a couple of those volleyball courts for their guests. Not sure yet what their plans are. So just here on this, I'm just showing you where that is located, that Pine Valley entry. And then this is the field where the courts are going to go. And these, again, are sand. And they go up in that right-hand corner. And you can see nice kind of ease of being able to walk and utilize the facilities at that recreation building. There's lots of misting. Water has to be used for these courts in between matches and maybe even between and during games to water down the courts. Lots of sand gets very messy, so these kids need a lot of water at the court side. So this way we're going to be utilizing state-of-the-art equipment for that. This is a future driving range building, very simple, low slung, nothing fancy. We have little garage doors that come down to protect. They'll have electronic equipment in there if it gets built that actually measures the golf swings, and I think it tells us how far the ball goes. I'm not sure. But so just all open air except for the garage door that we'll pull down at night for security. And that's the location up in the very top of your screen on the north side. And this area here is our other area that we're coming to you to show you about, and that is kind of it's mixed of a parking area that we're putting in, a golf storage building, and a new entryway. So this is what the aerial looks like. So it's a very, very tight intersection, as you can see, with the guardhouse being so far into the resort. There's a choke as far as folks coming in and not being able to turn around if they're in the wrong spot. So currently we find actually it annoys our neighbors as well because they back up into that driveway that you see to the upper left-hand side in order to back out and turn around and so on and so forth. So there's congregation there, and it can get a little bit unpleasant in the sense of cars queuing up. So by moving this, we really are able to provide a much more cohesive and probably the way all guardhouses are designed in this day and age. To the north of that, you see an existing area that's filled with a bunch of bric-a-brac from, again, Club Med days, all sorts of different trailers and whatnot. That is where the new parking area is going. To the lower left-hand side, that is where the golf cart building is going. This is the existing Morningside entry. As you can see, you approach. All of that land in that left-hand side is actually ours. So we placed our initial entry when it was built way inside our throat, and so we want to push that out to allow for that turnaround. You can see right there, there is nowhere to go. If you pull up to that gate and get told no, you back right up, and that's just not a scene we want to continue. This is just a close-up of all of the stuff that's in the area that we are clearing out to make our parking lot. So we're not taking a beautiful forest and creating, we're not paving paradise. So this is actual site plan showing where everything is located. So as you can see, we have our guardhouse moves back about 25 feet and allows for that nice U-turn, if you will, if people are in the wrong spot, so within our own site rather than backing up into our neighbor's driveway. You can see, get a little close-up of our pool proposed there and our nice parking lot. So our PUD amendment that's a little further up is specifically for the OSR section, really, mostly because OSR under our PUD, when it was written, and originally written, was actually written with rules that are different than the citywide standards. And so in order to make everything, sorry, I have a mosquito or something. In order to make everything consistent, we are amending this PUD document to basically reflect, I think, most of the uses that are in the city OSR standards. And so in our sports and court uses, soccer, tennis courts, padel, volleyball, pickleball, baseball fields, we never know. There's a lot of baseball fans in here. I happen to know one sitting up on the dais. So there is, we never know where we're going to go with this. Multi-use sports fields, a lap pool, driving range, golf cart infrastructure, including cart paths and cart parking areas. Accessory structures to all sports, including accessory sports fence and lighting infrastructure, bathroom structures, sports equipment rooms, shade structures, lightning protection, and refuge. So everything that I just showed you on the previous plan is just listed out in what our PUD will allow. If you will note, nowhere in our PUD does it allow for any residential use, period. In fact, we're locking it down in this amendment to remove any residential land use code from our site. So here's the concept plan that our staff asked us to kind of identify all of the different zones within the site. As you can see, you've got tennis and volleyball court zone, student dormitories, the marina, guest suites, dining, as you go through the entire batch here. Over to the lower right is the existing mangrove zone, and that is not being touched here, now, or ever. Oh, I do want to go back to this just for 1 second. The future special event parking. Our PUD amendment allows us to have overflow parking in that area where the original volleyball courts are currently. If we are accepting a condition that if parking becomes an issue on site during special events that the resort is having, we will develop that into additional overflow parking. The traffic impacts. All proposed improvements are additional amenities for existing students and existing resort guests. That's a lot to get your mind around, but it's the truth. Therefore, these proposed improvements do not impact current traffic levels. Additional parking spaces are being added to accommodate overflow parking. Really important, our kids live on site, our school population lives on site, and we have an all-inclusive resort where people come, get out of the car, and don't leave. So all of this, all of these improvements are to make the experiences better and more exciting for both the students and the guests of the resort. So we have an environmental report. So I just wanted to mention this because there were some concerns in our last hearing. So we had a wildlife evaluation. It was conducted by Mang on 12/11 of last year. And no listed species were found and no turtles were found, or tortoises, I should say. The full report's available on Fusion, and we have a pretty inactive site as far as any sort of invasives as well, which is great. And so I think these areas that we're proposing development are poised and ready. Mangrove restoration was an important part of coming to the resort and hearing the stories of what had happened before by our current ownership group. So we have partnered with Mang Environmental Consulting. They actually provide reports to the state for the redevelopment and regrowth of the mangroves. I included a couple pictures here because I wanted you to see our cute little plants and how they're all growing. They're all between 3 and 4 feet now. They're all growing back up at 6 feet. They're back at standard height. So we will have reached our need to have them monitored, but I'm very excited to say this runs the entire length of the area that had issues. In a video, there's no sound. It's not as compelling without the sound. There we go. And just before I take any questions, if you have any, I wanted to just mention something that came up in that video showing the kids eating. And so this is about economic impact of the school. 3 meals, over 100 meals per day are provided by the resort. So within that dynamic, throughout the entire redevelopment of the resort and before it officially reopened, the school actually maintained the cooking staff and paid for the cooking staff to actually continue to prepare their meals. So it's an amazing economic impact when you think in terms of 300 meals per day being provided every single day, Monday through Sunday, for these kids, and through our business partner at Sandpiper Bay Resort. So we're very excited to have had that partnership. They've been amazing, and it's a wonderful partnership to have. So any questions?
Thank you so much. Any questions? No? Yes, go ahead.
You said the tennis courts are going to be lighted?
Yes, only the inner corridors. So let me take you back here so you see which one's there. So as you can see down the middle there, only the center courts are going to be lit. So the ones directly adjacent to the neighbors are not.
Okay, that's where I was going. I would want to make sure that there was going to be no...
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? You have something?
Just in the event for efficiency, since we did the swearing in, to the extent you want to do it for efficiency, you can swear in anyone else who wants to comment on the PUD for public comment if you want to just condense it, if you want to, just as an option.
For anyone who is going to provide testimony.
Right, if their intent is to provide testimony or public comment for the quasi-judicial items, just have them sworn in now, so that way any public comment can be taken on the record appropriately.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, so this is item 10A, which is a public hearing, but not quasi-judicial. But for anyone who's going to speak, well, so I was going to have everyone do swear in at the same time like I normally do, but you want me to separate it for this item, just to be clear.
Just as an efficiency thing, so if the intent is there's a bunch of people here who want to speak on Sandpiper and don't want to wait till 10E is called, just swear everyone in now.
Okay.
Have them address their comments so that way they're sworn in, it's on the record, and we can incorporate it in the record properly.
Okay, so anyone who is going to speak on item 10E, please stand up and please be sworn in by the clerk.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Thank you. Thank you. You good? Okay. All right, so this item is a public hearing. So I'm going to open the public hearing. We have several people who have signed up to speak. Claudia Molina, please come forward. And everyone will have 3 minutes. Good evening.
Good evening, Claudia Molina. I am a mother of 3 kids at the academy, but I'm a homeowner in Sandpiper in River Vista community, and I live just a few houses away from the academy. I think Rebecca has been very clear. She cleared any doubts that I had. So I just want to very briefly say that I'm going to talk as a homeowner, not as an academy mother, primarily as a homeowner who wants to preserve the property value of my house and the quality of life and the environment of the community. My family moved 6 years ago to this community to try out the academy, and very quickly we fall in love with River Vista community because it is a very small-scale community. It's full of international people, who came because of Club Med and RPS academies. So mostly the few owners are students or international owners who came for vacations for Club Med. My house backs immediately to the golf course. So I was very lucky for 6 years to have a golf course behind my house. Of course, I knew I didn't buy a house in a golf course. I never paid any, any
Membership fees.
memberships, thank you, sorry, any membership for the golf course. So when the Club Med closed, I panicked. I didn't know what was going to happen with that piece of land that I was lucky enough to see for 6 years behind my house. So I was very concerned. I knew it was not going to be left unused. And so I hear Rebecca, and I feel this is paradise for me and the neighbors who face the academy. So as I said, my kids attend the academy. One already graduated. The next one is graduating this year, and I have another one, so they're soon going to be gone. But I have my property there, and I'm very happy to have the academy as neighbors. I know them. I know their values. I'm so happy to hear that it's going to stay as open recreation spaces. The only constructions are actually constructions that were there, and they're just going to be changed or bettered. So I guess this is the best options for our neighbors, and I think I will kindly respect you guys to support the community to have this kind of developments behind us. I'm afraid that if we keep locking or not letting the owners get a better place and a better academy or a better resort, they might end up selling, and we'll be discussing next year or very in the near future in front of you a possible change of land for housing or anything like that. So I think this is for the best of all the community.
Thank you very much. Gladys Velez. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Gladys Velez, a language teacher for the last 9 years at RPS Academies, an international sport academy. As a community resident, I have had a privilege to witness the program's growth firsthand. Our success speaks for itself. 98% of our graduates go on to college, with many earning substantial scholarships that recognize both their academic and athletic achievements. The outcome reflects the strong partnership between parents, teachers, and students that define our campus culture. The impact of RPS extends beyond academic and athletic. One set of parents became to invest in the program's mission that they purchased the academy and are now determined to make it the best sport academy in the world. We are very grateful for their commitment. This level of commitment demonstrates the transformative effect RPS has on families and underscore the quality of what we have built. RPS provides a safe, nurturing environment where students thrive both in the classroom and on the field. We pride ourselves of being one big family, where every student receives personalized attention and support. The close-knit community approach that has not only produced college-bound graduates, but has also provided positivity in our local area, bringing families from around the world to our community and strengthening our region's reputation as a destination of quality education and athletic development. The investment in RPS Academy represents an investment in young people's future and in the continuous vitalization of our community. Ms. Martin, our graduation will be Friday, May 29th. You're more than welcome to join us.
Thank you. TJ Izzo. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor Martin and fellow council members. My name is TJ Izzo with a law firm of Ross, Earl, Bonin, Enser, and Kerrigan, and I have the distinct pleasure today to represent and address you on important matters on behalf of the Villas of Sandpiper Bay Property Owners Association. I just wanted to provide some context of our community. We are the Villas of Sandpiper Bay, incorporated in 1975, and we are consisting of 89 residences And our property is unique in that it directly abuts the adjacent applicant's subject property, both the main portion on the east, Pine Valley Terminus, and a small enclave of 6 buildings over on the west, Morningside Boulevard Terminus. A majority of our properties are located, like I said, in between the resort owners and the Academy's property. However, I want to emphasize something important to you, that we have the unique and distinct pleasure to say that the principal in both the resort and the Academy actually own several units within our association. And that just enhances that we have a genuine vested interest, right, in the association. And this shared investment underscores the collaborative spirit that I want to bring here today to discuss. So some of the community's concerns with the proposed amendment to the comp plan and the PUD had a significant and important impact to the association and its residents. However, I'll address those in a second, how based on a collaborative approach with Rebecca and her team, I think that has dispelled some of those concerns. So on the Pine Valley side, where the sand volleyball courts are currently located, that directly abuts our property. And unfortunately, there's a footbridge that connects them to, and so right now we have some wandering individuals who think the association's property it belongs to the resort. And so working with Rebecca and her team, they made commitments to remove that footbridge and actually put up a physical landscape buffer, right? So it's both dual purpose to dispel any trespassing and also give an aesthetic look to the property. On the Morningside Boulevard property, again, our property abuts, and so the current situation is the entryway and the guardhouse, which have times been obstructed. Again, working with Rebecca and her team, we've been reached a resolution that we'll put up do not blocking signs and street striping, right, to deter and mitigate those efforts. So with that being said, there was one other thing that I wanted to bring to the court's attention was the court lighting. We've been rest assured that the proposed lighting would have no impact as it would be dark sky compliant. So I don't want to take up much of your time, but I just want to thank you for your attention and consideration. And I just want to work collaboratively with the applicant and the city while this moves forward.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes.
I'm a little bit confused here because I know we're hearing 2, and the 3 speakers that have spoken already are really concentrating on the 10E, and I don't recall any of them being sworn in. So I remember, pardon?
He was sworn in.
Okay, but I don't know that the others were, and I'm just a little bit concerned about it being a quasi, so.
Yeah, because this item isn't the quasi.
Right.
So if you have spoken and you have not been sworn in, please stand up so you can be sworn in. And that everything you said has been truthful.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you offer is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Thank you. Right. So that means I think the students that are going to speak need to be sworn in as well. So, yep, that is. So if you're a RPS student, and you're going to speak, please stand up and be sworn in by the clerk.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Thank you. Okay, and thank you to the RPS student athletes for being here today. Appreciate it. Jose Coelho, and if I mispronounce your name, I apologize in advance. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Jose Pablo Coelho, and I live in Morningside, just a few houses away from RPS academies. I moved here 6 years ago with my family. What was supposed to be a one-year adventure became our home. We first rented a house in the neighborhood, but very quickly we fell in love, not only with the academy, but with the community and the quality of life here. That's why we decided to buy a house. I grew up in a family that loves sports, we were taught the importance of discipline, competition, and hard work. That's why RPS offered us the best opportunity. My brother joined the golf program, I came for tennis, and my sister came for volleyball. RPS is not a large program. Compared to other academies, it is a very small school where everyone knows each other. We all want RPS to stay this way, small and personal. That's what makes it so special. Each sport becomes its own family, and together we are all part of a big RPS family. I've seen this across every program over the years. My brother made friends who he still considers family, friends who even took me in as their younger brother. My sister has made such great friendships that sometimes she even forgets she has a family at home. And I've made friends for life. Some who are still here and some who have moved on. We compete together, support each other, and grow together. Just this past Saturday, I had one of my proudest moments. My tennis family and I watched one of our best friends on TV win a Grand Slam match at Australian Open Juniors. It didn't just feel like it was him winning. It felt like we were all over there with him in Australia. Living here has greatly improved my quality of life. Coming from Mexico City, a big city with a lot of traffic, you get used to spending a lot of time in the streets. Here, I can bike or even walk to the academy back and forth whenever I want to. This way I save a lot of time I get to spend with my family. This balance has been incredibly important for me. RPS has played a very important role in shaping me into who I am today. It gave my family a home, and some incredible memories I will never forget. I hope it can keep changing kids' and families' lives for a very long time. Thank you for your time and for listening.
Thank you very much. Giorgio Centeno. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Giorgio Centeno, and I'm a student athlete here at RPS Academies. So I would like to begin by thanking the residents and the surrounding community for being supportive and welcoming to us over the years. We truly do appreciate it. I understand that some residents have concerns about the changing happening around our academy. I'm here to share my perspective as a student and an outside resident on why these renovations, especially the additions of the new tennis courts, are important. Right now, our daily schedule is split into short blocks. We begin 2 hours of tennis, then 2 hours of school, followed by tennis block, and then a school block. Because of this setup, students are split into two groups, one group in class and one on the court. So starting next year, our schedule will change into 4 hours of school in the morning and 4 hours of tennis in the afternoon. This structure is better for our education, especially with the addition of the Cambridge program. However, it also means that both groups will now be training at the same time instead of being split throughout the day. When it comes to match play, tennis requires 2 players in the court. With the current schedule, some students start matches, but because we only have a 2-hour tennis block before needing to return to class, many of those matches could not be finished. With the new schedule, the 2 groups are combined, which means that there will be more students on the court at the same time. Without additional courts, students wouldn't be able to compete in matches. There would be no space. With the renovations and the longer tennis blocks, it would allow us to start and finish full matches, which is essential for the improvement in competition. For training, having more courts and longer practice blocks allow us practice to run more efficiently and give the students better quality training during the time we have. These renovations are not about excess. They're about making sure the school can properly support the students in an organized and responsible way, while continuing to be a positive part of the Port St. Lucie community. Thank you.
Thank you. Jonathan McFarland. Good evening.
Evening. Hi, so I'm Jonathan McFarland. I'm a senior here at RPS. This is my second year living here as a boarding school student. I'm originally from Barbados. I know Rebecca touched on it a lot. Really, this changes for us, the students. And to be honest, I'm a senior. I'm leaving. I am a little bit jealous. I won't be here to see all these changes. But as we go through, I just want to share how much this really means to us. At the moment, our main soccer facility, I believe you called it the mixed use building. For us, it's our soccer office, but we're looking towards, the building has a lot of problems. At the moment, it's really limited and it's fallen to general disrepair. And I think the biggest issue that's kind of arisen from that is we don't have dedicated locker rooms, which means that, we don't have a space before practice, we don't have a space before games, and, we have only like basic temporary infrastructure in place. And by extension, by that, we have no bathroom facilities, primarily for us. For me and most others, it's non-issue. I'm a boy, let's be honest. But we are a co-ed institution. I don't want to necessarily speak for them. It's a little out of my place, but I think that they at least deserve the same privacy and safety that everyone else does. And another side point, not to speak ill of any other local soccer clubs here, especially if you have kids in that program, but over the past decade or so, RPS is the only real program in PSL to produce an abundance of high-level soccer players. Multiple players have been sent to Europe and the Americas, multiple Division I athletes. Last year alone, a kid who grew up in the St. Lucie County, he went to go play professionally in Spain. That's remarkable. And with the upcoming Port St. Lucie USL franchise team, wouldn't it be nice to see a lot of these local players developed here playing in front of you? And better yet, wouldn't it be nice to see these local players playing while still winning? Because that's the level that we produce of players. These facilities really can help us enable that. But like I said earlier, I know there's a lot of sentiment going around today, but these changes have no effect on me. And after May, I'm off to go get my bachelor's in mathematics. I'm gone. But for the last 2 years here, RPS has really become like my home. And by extension, Port St. Lucie. I know a lot of the younger guys who will be here for 4 or 5 years, and I know that with the right guidance, how high their potential can be. These planned improvements, they'll fix all the issues that I've experienced while here, but I think they also build the foundation for long-term continued success. All that I want is for RPS students to have the best experience possible and help develop the global citizens of the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And you better come back and visit. Good, I'm sure everyone wants you to. Krish Tala. Good evening.
Good evening to everyone here today. My name is Krish Tala, and I'm here to talk about my personal experience at RPS Academies. I am a tennis player in 8th grade, and I have been at RPS for 3.5 years now. I stay in the dormitory away from my family. Leaving my home, California, wasn't easy. I was sad and worried because I was leaving away from home, and I wouldn't be able to see my family or friends. However, when I came to RPS, the staff and students made me feel like I was at home. Everyone was so inviting to me and helped me out whenever I needed. The tennis players and coaches were very helpful and kind to me. Tennis is usually a solo sport. However, RPS made me feel like I was part of something else. RPS made me feel like I was part of a team. Ever since I came here, my tennis has improved so much. Before I came to RPS, I'd not really enjoyed tennis back in California. But here at RPS, they helped me find a passion for tennis I thought I could not find. My academics is also improving a lot with the teachers, being very interactive. They made me feel that if I ever need help, I did not have to hesitate to ask. I thought that being here would be sad because I'd be away from my parents. But these 3.5 years have been the best years of my life. RPS has taught me discipline, hard work, and helped me grow as a person in so many ways. I'm proud to be a part of RPS as a student. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Freda Bearland. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Greta Barland, and last time I spoke here, I came from the perspective of a student athlete, but this time I want to share my experiences growing up in Port St. Lucie. I moved here when I was 11, and now, as I prepare to graduate this spring, I will be graduating alongside the same friends I made 6 years ago. The people sitting behind me today are more than peers, they are friends I've grown up with, and RPS is where our paths came together. Over the years, many of us have grown close, not just at school, but in our daily lives. Walking the same streets, sharing routines, and especially for boarding students, creating a home away from home altogether. I have lived in countless places around the world, Yet the life I have built through RPS in Port St. Lucie is something I will always come back to, something I will always call home. The school doesn't just exist in Port St. Lucie, it builds on the city and ensures that the impact of this community will last longer, even after we graduate. I have seen firsthand the evolution of RPS, and I know that they are not finished. They have goals, they have a vision, and a commitment to their students and the community that is unmatched. I understand that accountability is important. Holding accountability should not, but holding ourselves and our institutions accountable is responsible and necessary for trust and growth. But our accountability should not become a barrier to progress. Change can be uncomfortable because it is unknown. Through RPS, I have learned a valuable lesson. You must face the uncomfortable to succeed because growth, opportunity, and the chance to make a lasting impact rarely come from staying safe and familiar. Yes, RPS has faced challenges, quite a few, but it has grown stronger because it has dared to step forward. I urge this community to support RPS because by supporting RPS, we're not just supporting a school, we are supporting a legacy, a vision, and an impact of RPS that will resonate far beyond its walls. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank all of the students who came and spoke. You are very impressive, and some of you are very, very wise for your young age, so thank you very much. Anyone else would like to speak? Please come forward. Seeing no one else, I'll close the public hearing. Council?
Motion to approve ordinance 26-09.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I just want to say to Ms. Miller, thank you very much for addressing all the concerns of the residents that were brought up during the planning and zoning meeting. I did watch that meeting, especially as it relates to stormwater and the buffering. Very, very happy to see that. And the collaboration with the residents. Thank you. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on to item 10B, ordinance 26-13.
An ordinance of the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida, amending Title 15 Land Usage, Chapter 158 Zoning Code, Appendix B, City of Port St. Lucie Land Conversion Manual, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing an effective date.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. If you give me a moment to bring up the presentation. Okay. Sophia Trail with the Planning and Zoning Department. Project P25174 is a zoning text amendment application to the City of Port St. Lucie Land Use Conversion Manual. The conversion manual is a document that was originally adopted in the mid-1980s to provide property owners and developers with a guide to rezoning properties in the city's conversion areas, which are located along major roadways within the city. The conversion process allows for single-family platted lots to be rezoned to a zoning district consistent with the property's future land use designation and Policy 11413 of the future land use element of the city's comprehensive plan. The conversion area of Becker Road was added to the conversion manual in 2018. The conversion manual addresses requirements for land assembly, rezoning requirements, and related site plan and design considerations. It explains the land use conversion process, available conversion options, and implementation policies. This is the conversion area map. Our conversion areas are again along our major roadways such as Bayshore Boulevard, Port St. Lucie Boulevard, Gatlin Boulevard, and Becker Road. The proposed amendment, again, is to the City of Port St. Lucie Land Use Conversion Manual. At present, the conversion manual requires a recorded unity of title for all land included within site plans for development of multifamily or non-residential uses within the land use conversion areas. A unity of title requires properties to be owned by the same person or entity through unified ownership. This application proposes to allow unified control as adequate legal documentation. Unified control is a legal agreement between different property owners that allows separate parcels to be treated as one for building, zoning, and development regulations. Owners agree to develop the properties together as a single unified project, even though they're owned and often financed separately. I did include this slide to provide a visual representation to the council. The image is an aerial of Conversion Area 2 along Southwest Gatlin Boulevard. These lots are zoned single family, but they have a future land use designation of ROI. The table below is one that you'll find in the conversion manual, which provides the minimum frontage and minimum depth requirements in order to rezone these lots. So for the purpose of just providing an example, if there was a property owner that owned lots 1 through 3, although they meet the minimum frontage and minimum depth requirements, they would not be able to rezone these properties because lot 4 would then become isolated. So under a unity of title, in order to rezone, they would have to acquire lot number 4 as part of their package. Unified control allows the property owner A of lots 1 through 3 and property owner B of lot 4 to come together for a business and a legal agreement to agree to rezone all 4 properties and build them as one site development project so that they don't have to relinquish their property ownership. We're also updating the cover page, various sections of the manual and maps. We are updating Table 1, which is applicable zoning districts for land use conversion areas, by removing the institutional zoning district from the list of compatible zoning district to provide consistency with the comp plan amendment from 2021. Ordinance 2136, which was passed in July 2021, amended policy 11413 of the future land use element. The amendment removed the institutional zoning district as a compatible zoning district for the medium density residential and residential office and institutional future land use classifications. The proposed text amendment is consistent with Goal 1.1 of the city's comprehensive plan, which is to provide an appropriate mix of land use, which meets the needs of current and future residents, and also aligns with Goals 2 and 4 of the city's strategic plan, which is to provide strategic growth for a resilient future and diverse economy and employment opportunities. The Planning and Zoning Department staff do find the petition to be consistent with the intent and direction of the city's comprehensive plan and recommends approval. The Planning and Zoning Board did recommend approval of the text amendment at their January 6, 2026 meeting. And that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you. Any questions? No? All right. Good. This item is a public hearing. Would anyone like to speak? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. Council?
Motion to approve ordinance 26-13.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any final discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. As we're moving on to the agenda, we have several items that are quasi-judicial in nature. So if you are going to speak on item 10C, 10D, 10E, and you haven't been sworn in already, 11A and 11C, please stand so that the clerk can swear you in if you're going to provide testimony.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So 10C is ordinance 26-14.
An ordinance of the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida, providing for the First Amendment of the Planned Unit Development Document for Verano South, Pod H, PUD, for property located south of the C-24 Canal, east of Range Line Road, west of I-95, and north of Crosstown Parkway, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, counsel. Are there any ex parte communications to disclose? No. Okay.
No.
Good evening, Mr. Robinson.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Daniel Robinson, Planning and Zoning. Hold on one second, do that. I have been sworn in, and the official city file has been submitted to the city clerk more than 5 days prior to this hearing. Madam Clerk, please enter the file into the record. Project before you is the First Amendment to the Verano Pod H PUD. Property is located south of C-24 Canal, east of Range Line Road, west of I-95, and north of Crosstown Parkway. PUD was originally approved in 2024 per Ordinance 24-01, and future land use is RGC. The proposed amendment consists of two changes, which are to add the use of freestanding emergency department and to update the street tree requirements. No other changes are proposed at this time. The amendment is consistent with the direction and policies of the comprehensive plan. The updates will allow flexibility with street trees where there are utilities and driveway conflicts. Here's the concept plan, PUD. And policy 1.1.4.10, residential golf course allows for the freestanding emergency room as an institutional use. The Planning and Zoning Board recommended approval of the proposed PUD document at their August 5th, 2025 Planning and Zoning Board meeting. And do you have any questions for staff?
Any questions?
The words freestanding emergency department come to mind, and I know that we just had something like this up. And what is the difference between this one and the other one that we all denied? Or not we all denied, but that was denied.
That was on Becker Road.
The land use and the PUD allowing it.
So it's already allowed.
As per the land use. The PUD has to add the use.
So Mr. Robinson is correct. The land use does allow that as a use, but the PUD didn't list it as, within this PUD, we're going to have this use. So that's one of the changes that they're making, is to add it as a use within the PUD.
So it's like a cleanup, is what you're saying? Because
originally they didn't contemplate having that use here, so it wasn't included. And now there's a desire to have it, seems to be an appropriate location, so they just need to amend their documentation. They have a plat and a site plan waiting in the wings to come through. And there's a high demand for this type of use in this area.
Yes, go ahead.
Can we talk about the street trees a little bit more? The reason I ask is because when these developments start building, it's all fine and dandy to put the trees at the street. 10 years from now, 20 years from now, when that tree becomes mature, all the infrastructure gets destroyed. So what are their plans on the trees? And I know it's going to come back in the site plan, but what is their thought process? Because we're having problems out in the Cascades. We have problems at Lake Charles right now with the same thing, street trees.
The requirement would be the proper setback and having the proper root barriers installed at installation and making sure they're installed and maintained so that it doesn't create destruction. It gets underneath everything.
It still doesn't give me great hope that it's going to get done, because supposedly the same thing happened in Cascades and the same thing happened at Lake Charles. Now, 20 years later, we're dealing with having to rip trees out because it's just destroying water lines, sewer lines, sidewalks. The HOAs are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars redoing sidewalks and things of that nature. So,
not being a landscape architect,
I understand that. I'm just making my concerns known. And when it comes back to when the site plan comes forward, that's something I'm going to be paying very much attention to, because it's something that I'm having to deal with two of my HOAs, and it's costing those residents there hundreds of thousands of dollars because of street trees.
So we changed our ordinances a while back, didn't we, to address street trees because of the issues that we knew we had in the past?
We did revise that's a great point. We did revise our ordinances to provide flexibility. And so we have street trees A and then street trees B, which are smaller, which may be more appropriate in other locations. But Councilman Pickett, you raise a great point, and really the applicant came in and collaborated with staff on the changes to this PUD. And the changes really are to provide more flexibility. So what this customer is finding is that as they build out their neighborhoods, it's great on paper, but in real life, you have utility conflicts. There may be a curve. You're having a problem planting the tree species that you spec'd out. And so in fact, within their PUDs, we're working with them to modify the language to say, as you lay out your site, we have it approved, but when you really get down to building it, if you find that you have conflicts, come to us and we'll work with you to adjust things. If we need to shift the trees, if you need to change the species. So this is really a great revision in staff's opinion, because it actually puts the ability right in the PUD for the flexibility. And I think as we do PUDs moving forward, we'll be looking to this type of language just so that we can head things off instead of waiting 20 years down the road.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No? All right.
The applicant is here.
Okay. Good evening.
Hey, good evening, Madam Mayor, Council. For the record, Pete Hoffmines with Cutler and Herring Land Planning and Landscape Architects. Here on behalf of the applicant, PSL Investments, one of the entities under the master developer. Any presentation I provide you tonight would be duplicative of staff's. Happy to answer any questions. I think Mary answered them. That's our intent with the street trees, as we have right-of-way widths and engineering standards and all of these factors come into play. Having that flexibility to shift trees, to swap species for, as we like to say, the right tree, the right place, install the root barriers so we don't have those infrastructure problems moving forward 10, 15, 20 years down the line. That's certainly why we're coming forward with an amendment like this. But happy to answer any questions that council may have. Thank you.
Any questions?
I appreciate that, sir, because it's very costly to the HOA and to the residents. And like I said, the one resident, the one HOA, they're $200,000 into, problems with the trees and having that flexibility. Just because it says put an oak tree there, it doesn't make sense to put an oak tree there if you know there's a water line or there's a sewer line. Right. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep. You're very welcome.
Anyone else? Good? Good, thank you. So this item is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the council? Seeing no one, will close the public hearing. Council?
Motion to approve ordinance 26-14.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any final discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to 10D, ordinance 26-15.
An ordinance of the City of Port St. Lucie adopting a master sign program for Town Place, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Any ex parte communications? No,
ma'am.
Jolene?
No, ma'am.
Oh, no, ma'am. I'm sorry. Okay. I thought she said ma'am. Okay.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. Daniel Robinson, Planning and Zoning, and I have been sworn in. The official file has been submitted to the city clerk more than 5 days prior to this hearing. Madam Clerk, please enter the file into the record. The project before you is a master sign program application for Town Place. The request provides a comprehensive regulation for all commercial and residential facade and monument signs within the Town Place development. The property future land use is general commercial and residential high density, and the property is a PUD zoning. The property is located at the southeast corner of the intersection of US 1 and Savannah Club Boulevard. And Town Place consists of 18.51 acres mixed-use development. The program provides regulations for monument signs along US 1 for the retail and residential development, and a monument sign for the retail development along Savannah Club Drive entrance. An internal directional sign is in the master sign program, and it includes retail facade signs and temporary signs. The Site Plan Review Committee recommended approval of the master sign program at their meeting of August 27, 2025. Staff finds the proposed master sign program to be consistent with the city's land development regulations and requirements of section 155.03H of the city code, and recommends approval. Any questions?
Any questions? No? We're good, thank you. This item is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the council? There's that. I didn't see anyone come forward. Is applicant here? No? Okay. Would anyone like to address the council on this item? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing. Council?
Motion to approve ordinance 26-15.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any final discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 10E, ordinance 26-16.
An ordinance of the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida, providing for the second amendment of the planned unit development document and conceptual plan for the Sandpiper Bay Resort planned unit development for property located at 3500 Southeast Morningside Boulevard, generally located north of the North Fork of the South St. Lucie River, south of Southeast Westmoreland Boulevard, between the western terminus of Southeast Pine Valley Street and the eastern terminus of Southeast Morningside Boulevard, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Council, ex parte communications?
Yes, I have spoken with the applicant.
Thank you.
Rebecca.
Spoken with the applicant as well.
I've spoken with the applicant and had 2 site visits.
Oh, I had a site visit.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I have spoken with the applicant. I've also spoken with various residents at the most recent Sandpiper Bay Association meeting. I've spoken to 2 of the RPS employees, and I've also had a site visit.
Thank you.
I went out there as well.
Great.
Thank you. Madam Mayor, Council, Bethany Grubbs for the record. I have been sworn in, and the official file has been provided to the clerk at least 5 days prior to this meeting. The application before you is the companion application to the previous comp plan amendment. This is Sandpiper Bay Resorts Planned Unit Development Amendment Number 2. The intent of this amendment is to amend the PUD concept plan, update the permitted uses, update property ownership, and other miscellaneous changes. The agents for the project are Keith and MPLD Consulting, and they represent Altitude Property Co. LLC. The property is located at 3500 Southeast Morningside Boulevard, generally located north of the North Fork of the St. Lucie River, south of Westmoreland Boulevard, between the western terminus of Southeast Pine Valley Street and the eastern terminus of Southeast Morningside Boulevard. The subject property, outlined in yellow, is the entire Sandpiper Bay Resort planned unit development, which is the subject of this request. Here's a side-by-side comparison. There are no changes proposed to the golf course, which is the northern parcel, as the property is currently comprised of 2 independent parcel ID numbers. A zoomed-in version of the concept plan mirrors what we saw from the applicant previously. It outlines the zones, the tennis and sports zone, marina zone, guest suites, the dining for the resort, and the parking areas, to name a few. The proposed PUD amendment represents, again, the second modification to the PUD, which was formerly known as Club Med Sandpiper. The following are the key changes. We're revising the concept plan to reflect expanded sports courts and fields. This includes court and field lighting, court coverings, and parking improvements, updating ownership information and the regulatory documents, amending permitted uses consistent with the removal of the commercial limited future land use designation. Marina was in the commercial limited, so now Marina is going to become a permitted use in the CGI land use. Adding additional buffering and design requirements to ensure compatibility with the surrounding uses. This includes a western buffer that's being established, and eastern and wetland buffers that are programmed, and dark sky compliant lighting for new fields. To elaborate a little bit further, the western buffer will be established. That's the 5-foot berm with the 3 foot of plantings at time of planting, so an 8-foot total at the minimum size. The eastern wetland buffers are programmed upon any construction of a special events or overflow parking area. And the lighting for the sports courts and fields that's proposed will be dark sky compliant, with the condition that the lighting be turned off within an hour after match play. Miscellaneous cleanup provisions for clarity and consistency. One thing when trying to review the PUD we found challenging was there's a lot of talk of amenities and accessory uses. So what we did was spell out that the hotel has the amenity uses and the resort has accessory uses, and therefore we added site amenities and we replaced classrooms in the student union building. We replaced the classrooms with a student union building, and there's the reconfiguration of the guard gate and the standards for setbacks that apply that are being revised. Adding a timeline for construction of the overflow parking on site if parking is an impact on the adjacent neighborhoods. One protection measure that was written into that in the PUD is that if there is an issue identified, which would be by way of complaint or the city notification, or if the applicant determines that it is necessary to be constructed for their own benefit, within 3 months, we shall have the plans that, for the construction, and the lot shall be constructed within 9 months. So there's a 1-year window there. And adding a requirement for revised operations and parking management plan if the uses on site increase. As I said previously, the site is currently entitled for 335 resort rooms, which are existing, 150 student count population, and 100 slip marina, all existing uses. If there's any expansion of those uses, then revised traffic plan and operations and parking management plan will be required. The purpose of this amendment is to align the development standards with updated land use goals to support the school's expansion and their enhanced sports offerings. The proposal conforms with comprehensive plan policy 1.1.4.13, and that's that the PUD zoning is compatible with the commercial, general, and institutional uses. And staff finds that the amendment is consistent and updates the PUD documentation to match the actual built environment and ensure regulatory compliance for future reviews and permitting. The key protections in the PUD that are not conditions but written as narrative throughout are buffer and berm requirements. There's a 50-foot west buffer property buffer requirement, and that is along the OSR area. That's the current sand volleyball courts just north of the mangrove area, and that is that there's a 50-foot building setback, 30 feet that's most adjacent to the residences is 30 foot of continuous opaque landscape buffering, and then with no structures, which is beyond the 10 foot, that is the minimum by standard code. And then the remaining 20 foot may be paving, but no structure. So there's a 50-foot building setback built in there. Again, in excess of the standard 10-foot commercial general land use setback. And then we have noise mitigation buffer protections built in, and that's through the construction of the 5-foot berm with the 3-foot landscaping on top. for a total of 8 foot of protection for reducing noise and sound transmission. And of course, the city's noise ordinance is still applicable if there is any noise concerns. The wetland buffer, there's a minimum 50-foot setback with protective measures. Whenever their site for the overflow parking area is, the plans are submitted, that wetland must be delineated and comply with the 50-foot buffer setback that is standard in code. Parking overflow controls. Parking is prohibited on the adjacent streets, Pine Valley and Morningside, and there are designated on-site overflow areas on each side of the planned unit development per the concept plan, and the construction plans for these overflow parking areas shall be submitted within 3 months, as previously discussed, in 9 months, and be completed within 9 months after city notice. The updated traffic management plan shall be submitted after the completion to the Planning and Zoning Department, and additional solutions may be required if parking still remains limited and of concern. Lighting standards. The lighting for the sports fields shall be shielded and dark sky friendly. Fixtures to minimize spillover. A photometric plan is required with foot candle readings near 0 at the property line. In sports courts and field lighting, the lights shall be turned off within an hour after gameplay concludes. The applicant submitted an environmental review for staff in the listed species submittal. There were the following observed on site: osprey, sandhill crane, loggerhead shrikes, wood stork, great blue heron, and the American alligator. 100% gopher tortoise survey was completed and no burrows were observed on site. No upland habitat is currently present, and wetlands are under the state and federal jurisdiction identified on the site. The property is currently entitled for 335 resort rooms, 150 students, 100 slip marina, and ancillary support resort amenities and academy accessory uses. What's being proposed to change and added under this request are expanded academy accessory uses only. A traffic impact statement and future land use amendment traffic analysis report was prepared for the existing conditions to set a baseline standard, and was reviewed by Kittleson and Associates, the city's third-party peer reviewer, and the study was prepared by Simmons and White, dated November 13th, and revised later through January the 6th of this month. The traffic analysis does not reflect net new trips by the school. As a result, no additional analysis is required. The conclusions address the existing day-to-day operations for the resort and school. The traffic operations management plan has been included as an exhibit within this planned unit development document. The resort access is outlined in green, the academy access is outlined in blue, and the marina access is outlined in red. So you can see here that primarily the resort will use the Pine Valley entrance, and the marina and the school will use the western entrance off of Morningside to keep the uses and the traffic separated. This amendment ensures land use compatibility by aligning PUD standards and adopted policies supporting both institutional and resort functions. Staff finds that this PUD amendment is consistent with the comprehensive plan policy 1.1.4.2, which supports resort uses under the CG land use, and policy 1.1.4.4, which supports schools and accessory uses under the institutional land use. The PUD amendment advances strategic plan goal 3, building an engaged and connected city, and goal 4, fostering a diverse economy and employment opportunities. The amendment is intended to support the resort and academy's operations, which may have effects on tourism, hospitality, and educational program that may impact the local economy. Staff's recommendation is that staff finds the petition to be consistent with the intent and direction of the city's comprehensive plan, and recommends approval with the following condition, and that is that the applicant will enter into a revocable encroachment agreement prior to site plan approval. And to touch on that, let me just back it up to the aerial briefly. And this is, there's a small section that is along Pine Valley, around this general area that has a few parking spaces, a fence post, and some landscaping in the city's right-of-way, which is not allowed. So what the agreement will say is they'll outline the protections that if ever it needs removed, it's the responsibility of the applicant if the city comes in to do any roadway or right-of-way improvements. And that's the intent of that condition. And therefore, at the January 20th, 2026 Planning and Zoning Board meeting, the board recommended approval of the proposed PUD amendment with the condition as recommended by staff that states that the applicant will enter into the revocable encroachment agreement prior to the site plan approval. That concludes my presentation. And the applicant, are you entering your presentation, or would you? And the applicant's entering her presentation into the record as well.
Great. Any questions for Ms. Grubbs? No? All right.
Madam Mayor,
Yes?
just for extra clarity, right, all of the public comment that was had at 10A is now being reincorporated into this record?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure that's clear.
Applicant's presentation for 10A is being incorporated into this record.
As well as the public comment.
And the public comment as well. Yes. Thank you. Okay, this item is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the council? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing. Council?
Motion to approve ordinance 26-16.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any final discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor?
Yes.
May I just say a few comments?
Yes.
Please extend to the students. They got up and left, and I was hoping they would stay for this one, but wow. So impressive. And I'm sure the next Messi or Roger Federer or one of those, they're going to be there. And I'm thinking maybe we should change our name to Sport St. Lucie. Just kidding.
I will pass that along.
Thank you.
It's a
Thank you.
It's a great nickname for sure.
Yeah, Sport St. Lucie.
Awesome. All right, we are moving on to resolutions. Resolution 11A, Resolution 25-R29.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida, granting a special exception use application pursuant to Section 158-124C11 to allow a convenience store with fuel sales in the CG zoning district for a project known as Murphy USA Southwest Gatlin Boulevard, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Any ex parte communications to disclose? No. I don't have any.
No, ma'am.
Great. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council, staff. For the record, Francis Foreman with the Planning and Zoning Division. I have been sworn in, and the official city file has been given to the city clerks 5 days prior to this meeting. Madam Clerk, if you could please enter that file into the record. The item before you is the Murphy USA Southwest Gatlin Boulevard Special Exception Use. The applicant of the project is Kara Phillips of Murphy USA, with the owner of the property being SL Gatlin Boulevard LP. The site, or the location of the project site, is located on the northwest corner of Southwest Gatlin Boulevard and Southwest Import Drive, with the request being the approval of a special exception use to allow a convenience store with a fuel service station in the general commercial zoning district as per Section 158-124C11 of the City of Code of Ordinances. This is an aerial of the overall area, with the subject site being outlined here in yellow. Again, as you can see on that northwest corner of Gatlin and Import Drive. The surrounding area have a mixture of future land use classifications, anywhere from utility to service commercial, with highway commercial, residential office institutional, as well as general commercial along the Gatlin Boulevard. There are compatible zoning districts to the future land uses that exist, from open space conservation to the north of the property to plan unit development to the south, with professional to the east, and single-family residential further north of the open space conservation area. This is the proposed conceptual site plan for the site. Access for the site will be off of Southwest Gatlin Boulevard and as well as Import Drive. This is the conceptual landscape plan, which is currently being shown to meeting code, but again, will be reinforced through the site plan process. And the conceptual elevations for the convenience store and the fueling stations. The subject site is 1.73 acres and again is currently zoned general commercial. This item was previously in front of you on May 27th, 2025, at which time staff recommended to have this item tabled to allow staff to continue working with the applicant to provide further off-site improvements that were needed because of this proposal that is coming forward. Since then, staff has been working with the applicant. We have come to an agreement that the left turn lane from Southwest Gatlin Boulevard onto Import Drive will be extended, as well as the right turn lane from Southwest Import Drive onto Gatlin will be also extended. The proposed use also aligns with Goal 4 of the city strategic plan by expanding job opportunities and supporting economic development. I'm going to go back and touch on the expansions. I do have the extensions. The left turn lane going from Gatlin onto Import will be extended 573 feet, with the turn lane going from Import onto Gatlin will be extended by 365 feet. As every SEU that does come through the city, certain criteria do need to be met per section 158-260 of the city code. These criteria include ingress, egress of the site, off-street parking, utilities buffering, overall compatibility with the area. The proposal currently does meet those standards and does exceed those in some areas. The Planning and Zoning Board did recommend approval of the special exception use at the March 6, 2025 meeting. Staff does find that the special exception use is consistent with the criteria listed in section 158.124 and section 158.260 of the city code, and we are recommending the following condition. That condition is that the required off-site mitigation improvements, as stated in the Public Works traffic memo dated January 7th, 2026, must be completed prior to the Public Works final inspection. This condition is just to make sure that all those agreed upon off-site improvements are in place prior to the site being opened. This concludes my presentation. Staff is here to answer any questions that you may have, as well as the applicant.
Any questions?
Can you review the turn lane distances again? Because what I'm picturing in my mind, you said turn left.
Yes, so the turn left.
How are you going to turn left?
So from Gatlin Boulevard onto Import Drive, there's a left turn lane.
Right.
That's going to be extended.
Nobody uses that to make a U-turn. So, okay.
Yeah. Again, Clyde is here, or sorry, not Clyde. Colt is here from Public Works. He can answer a little more as to why they're extending, but I'll leave it to him.
Okay. And I also have a question is there going to be any kind of turn lane coming from the east going west to turn into the gas station? Because that's going to be a major problem. We already have a major problem just a little bit down the road at the Waffle House and the Seven Brews Coffee. So now you're going to add a gas station there and you're going to create even more of a traffic jam. So I want to hear that.
So if we can go back to the conceptual. All right. So this left turn lane, the existing one on Gatlin turning on to Import Drive, that is shown to have some concerns with stacking, and working with the applicant, they've agreed to extend this for their impacts and the left turn lanes that are going to be happening here. So there will be some U-turns that would happen at Gatlin and Import to get into the site. And as you can see on the site here, there is a significantly decent long right turn lane into their site on Gatlin to help with those movements as well too, which will also help with the traffic coming from the east heading west. And then if you look on Import Drive, it's a little bit harder to see, but you can see the right turn lane that is going to be extended by roughly, I think it's 385 feet, almost to the canal that's right there. And then part of that, they are also installing a divided median. That way it will prevent any illegal left turns coming into and out of their site, as well as help with the site across the road as well too.
That still doesn't give me a warm fuzzy. Traffic on Gatlin, that's one of the major thoroughfares in the city. And if there's not a de-acceleration lane going into that gas station, we got major problems on that road.
There is a right turn lane going into the gas station right there.
Can you bring it back up?
Yeah, so that, where the highlighted marker is, there is going to be right turn lane added into their site.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilwoman Morgan, did you have something?
No, I'm sorry.
I saw you lean in, so I thought maybe.
I'm good, thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay. This is the public hearing. Would anyone like to address the council on this item? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. Council?
Where am I at?
We are 11A.
Oh, motion to approve resolution 25-R29. Sorry,
With condition.
with conditions listed.
Is there a second? I don't have a second. Okay. Since I don't have a second, and
I can second.
I'm sorry?
I'll second.
Okay.
And I'll second for discussion, and I just want to make sure too, I heard Councilman Pickett's concerns. I haven't heard from Councilman Bonner. If this isn't going to pass, or if there's going to be opposition, I would like to hear any other concerns listed. Thanks.
I mean, I'm just thinking through some of the traffic concerns. We've had a couple of presentations over several different items that mention, that it's in alignment with Goal 4 on the supporting jobs and economic development. And I'd like to know what that really means, or how that's relevant. Is supporting jobs and economic development basically anything that hires people? If we're going to use that as a justification for things, I think we need to have a little bit more data on what that means. So it kind of seems like a justification that's trying to push things through. So that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But I'm still thinking through the traffic concerns on this item.
So I agree with you. When I read that, I was not happy with that statement about it being economic development and employment opportunities. I completely disagree, as we've known what the definition has been all along of that. So I did have some issues with that as well. I will not be supporting this item because of the fact that, well, one, I think we have, I know we approved the use, but this is quasi, so there's plenty of gas stations, and I'm on that strip and that Gatlin Boulevard, and this is a very heavy, intense use, and I just don't think it fits. So I will not be supporting it. Yes.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that was, after you spoke, I was going to bring this up. From Port St. Lucie Boulevard to 95, anybody want to take a guess how many gas stations there are?
There's several.
9. 9 gas stations from Port St. Lucie Boulevard to 95. And when BJ's gets built, that'll make the 10th. Do we really need that many gas stations on that road? I think not. And my vote will be for no. But it's just my vote. Thank you.
Does that help,
Madam
Vice
Mayor?
Mayor? Go ahead.
I'm not pleased about another gas station, so I agree with Councilman Pickett. Because it is quasi and it is based upon the criteria, I would recommend that the city attorney provide us what criteria would those concerns be going under, being that it is quasi. But I share a lot of the sentiments of my colleagues on the dais, and I do think it's an intense use. added on to additional tense uses, but I just want to make sure that if it moved to denial, that we're just following the quasi process with the criteria stated and what item it would go under. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney?
Yes, so the criteria for the special exception use, you'll see in your backup materials listed in the staff report. So you have a number of different criteria to consider, all of which you've been presented evidence on. Examples include adequate ingress and egress, off-street parking, properly located utilities, adequate screening and buffering, signs and lighting, traffic and safety, yards and open spaces that are adequate to properly serve the development, conformance with the proposed use of the chapter, establishment and operation of the proposed use upon the particular property involved that won't impair the health, safety, or welfare or convenience of the residents and workers in the city. And I got I&J. So the proposed use will not constitute a nuisance or hazard because of the number of persons who will attend or use the facility, hours of operation, vehicular movement, noise, fume generation, or physical activity. J, the uses proposed for development will be compatible with the existing or permitted uses of adjacent property. Proximity or separation and potential impact of the proposed use, size, height, buildings, access, location, light, and noise. K would be as an alternative to reducing the scale and or magnitude of the project. The city may deny the request for the proposed use if the use is considered incompatible, too intensive, or too intrusive upon the nearby area and would result in excessive disturbance or nuisance from the use altering the character of the neighborhood. And lastly, development and operation of the proposed use will be in full compliance with any additional conditions and safeguards which the council may prescribe, including but not limited to reasonable time limits within which the action for special approval is requested, shall be begun or completed, or both.
And Madam Mayor, I just want to ask the city attorney one more question. Just because I voted to second, it does not necessarily mean that I have to vote to approve it, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
So I'm going back to the fact that the use is very intense. Yes, sir? Are you the applicant? Yes, you can come forward.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. My name is Arif Shahade with HSQ Group. I'm a civil engineer representing Murphy USA. I just wanted to say I understand your concern about the gas stations along the road. You know, since May, we've been working with Public Works, with Francis, with you know, the whole Clyde, everyone. I do understand your concerns, but I feel that we've gone out of our way to really increase the level of service of the road. We're proposing the left turn lane, the two right turn lanes, the median. We've already obtained our permits with South Florida. So, and I would just appreciate if you guys would reconsider your, you know, your option on this. And any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Any questions?
I don't have any questions. I just wanted to make a few comments.
Sure.
So I know that I hear people saying, oh, we got a gas station on every corner. Oh, there's a gas station, a gas station, a gas station. But, you know, with business, do you say we got enough gas stations so you can't open a gas station? That would be saying we've got enough chicken places, so I don't want another chicken place. We've got enough burger joints. I don't want another burger joint. I can't do that with businesses. Sounds like I'm going to be the lone supporter, and the reason I is because Planning and Zoning recommended approval. Staff found that it was consistent with all of our criteria listed in the sections, and I can't do that for a business just because there's a gas station across the street or down the street. I can't do that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I want to clarify for myself, my determination is based solely on the traffic flow concerns. I agree with Councilwoman Morgan. You know, we don't want to, and we shouldn't, you know, tell one business they can't open because there's other businesses. And my comment about the presentation was simply just an aside about because it's happened in item after item. I really shouldn't have brought it up during a quasi judicial, but it was just something I was meaning to address with staff. And I just, with the traffic concerns, I heard the city attorney say traffic and safety was one of the considerations. And so for that reason, I will be voting no.
And the same for me. My initial comment was about traffic safety. I drive that road every day, 3 and 4 times a day I'm on that road. And I see the traffic and the congestion that's on that road. And by adding a high intense business like that, it's just gonna make it even worse. And I'm sorry that I have to be like that, because I'm very pro-business, but I also have to look out for the safety of the residents, especially on a high traffic road like that. So for that reason, my traffic safety.
And my issue is the intensity. It is very intense use, and the traffic that we have been experiencing and will continue to experience, it's just, for me, it's just too intense.
If I could add, the turn lanes that we're improving are already below like where they should be at for the current traffic. So we're actually improving the situation for existing conditions and for the future. So I understand your concern, but we are alleviating the issue overall based on the traffic study.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So, Madam Mayor, I just wanted to state that I'm also not in support of it, and I'm going to follow criteria I because of concerns with vehicular movements, as well as, and I understand that they did try to take some of the concerns and address them, but I think the intensity of a gas station on that corner with the other intense uses surrounding it is what concerns me with the vehicular movement, as well as item K, which addresses in the criteria the intensity. And again, it's not that there's not other intense uses on Gatlin, it's the compounded intense uses and then an additional intense use that concerns me. I have never been one to not support something because we have too many of what we have too many banks, we have too many pharmacies. I mean, people can say that for days. But I think Gatlin is unique. And I think that the criteria in those two areas I find lacking. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. So we have a motion and a second. I'm going to ask the clerk to do a roll call, please.
Mayor Martin,
No, ma'am.
Councilman Bana,
No, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Caraballo,
No, ma'am.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Pickett.
No, ma'am.
All right. We're moving on to 11B, Resolution 26-R02.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida, authorizing the city manager or his designee to execute light emitting diode lighting agreements with Florida Power and Light Company for the installation or modification of LED streetlights throughout the city located in the city right-of-way, authorizing the city manager or his designee to execute agreements with respect to FPL lighting agreements for roadways with developers, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve Resolution 26-R02.
Second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any final discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. 11C, Resolution 26-R05.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida, granting a special exception use to allow an enclosed assembly area over 3,000 square feet without an alcoholic beverage license for on-premises consumption of alcoholic beverages in the General Commercial Zoning District per Section 158.124C2 of the of the Port St. Lucie Code of Ordinances for a project known as 6500 Selvets, Inc., providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Good evening again, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. For the record, Sophia Trail with the Planning and Zoning Department. I have been sworn in the official record.
Sophia, excuse me a minute. Any ex parte communications on this?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
The official packet was submitted 5 days prior to this public hearing. Madam Clerk, would you please submit it into the record? Project P25195 is a special exception use application known as 6500 Selvets, Inc. The applicant is Manuel Leonor with Nana's House Academy. He's applying on behalf of the owner, 6500 Selvets, Inc. The property is located north of North Macedo Boulevard and west of Northwest Selvets Road. It is a special exception use application to add 957 square feet of enclosed assembly area to an existing 2,821 square feet of enclosed assembly area, which is a daycare center, for a total of 3,778 square feet. Section 158124C, General Commercial Zoning District, requires enclosed assembly areas over 3,000 square feet without an alcoholic beverage license for on-premises consumption to apply for a special exception use. There was a special exception use granted to the property in 2006 to allow a daycare center within the existing shopping plaza. The daycare is currently operating in Unit 6550 and is requesting to expand into Unit 6554, which is adjacent to them, to add a classroom, kitchen, and restrooms. As a current enclosed assembly area within Unit 6550 is 2,821 square feet, and the applicant is requesting to add 957 square feet. The resulting 3,778 square feet requires a new special exception use. The site is located within the Parkway Shopping Plaza. This is an aerial image of the Parkway Shopping Plaza. To the north is some drainage, and it's surrounded by single-family homes. The future land use is general commercial with OSC to the north, east, and west, and low-density residential to the south, east, and west. The property is zoned general commercial, and the surrounding property is zoned single-family. This is just an image of the storefront. So in red is the existing daycare center in 6550. In blue is the vacant unit, 6554, which was previously retail. This is a proposed floor plan. Again, to the right, they're just adding an additional classroom, but there's an existing kitchen area, walk-in cooler, and 2 restrooms. The Public Works Department reviewed the traffic analysis and has determined that the transportation elements were found to be in compliance with the adopted level of service and requirements of Chapter 156 of City Code and Public Works Policy 1901 PWD. The proposed project is anticipated to generate 212 average daily, 78 a.m. peak hour, and 82 p.m. peak hour driveway trips. This represents a reduction of 35 average daily trips from the current use. The additional unit was originally retail, so that's why the use has decreased, but it will increase the AM peak hour and PM peak hour trips by 3 and 1 respectively, and is not anticipated to have any significant impact to the adjacent roads. With all CUs, we evaluate them against criteria outlined in Section 158260. There's no proposed changes to ingress and egress. The daycare center requires parking at a ratio of 1 space per 300 square feet of gross floor area. The existing daycare center consists of 3,427 square feet, and the expansion area is 2,217 square feet for a total of 5,644 square feet. This would require 19 parking spaces. The overall shopping center is parked at a rate of 1 space per 250 with a total of 305 parking spaces. This request reduces the parking demand, and as a result, the site contains sufficient parking capacity to support the special exception request. There is adequate utilities. There's no additional screening or buffering required. And no proposed changes to the existing yard and open space. The site's approved site plan and landscape plan provides adequate perimeter landscaping and buffering. The northern and western property lines are abutting drainage tracts with open space conservation future land use designations. Both sides of the property have a 10-foot landscape buffer and 6-foot high architectural wall. Additionally, there's a 0.31 acre dry retention area behind the shopping plaza along the northern property line. All signage and lighting is required to conform to city code. If the tenant decides to do any additional signage, they'll be required to do it through a separate building permit application. The daycare was approved as a SEU in 2006 and has since been operating. The hours of operation will remain the same. The current license capacity is 82 students, and the proposed expansion will increase it to 100. The Planning and Zoning Board recommended approval at their January 6, 2026 meeting. I did link it to Goal 2 for strategic growth for a resilient future. I did this because they weren't proposing any new development. They were going to be utilizing an unused space in an existing commercial plaza. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions? No? Okay. Is the applicant here? Do you want to make a presentation or? Okay. Would you like to make any comments or are you good? I'm willing to answer any questions. Any questions for the applicant? No? Okay. This item is a public hearing. Would anyone like to address the council? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing. Council?
Motion to approve Resolution 26-R05.
I have a motion and a second. Any final discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. 11D, Resolution 26-R06.
A resolution of the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida, authorizing the mayor to enter into an interlocal agreement to maintain certain landscaping and hardscape improvements on a portion of Southwest Becker Road from southeast Via Tesoro to Gilson Road between Veranda Community Development District 2 and the City of Port St. Lucie, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Council?
Motion to approve Resolution 26R06.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any final discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. 11E, Resolution 26-R07.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida, approving of and authorizing the city manager to execute a settlement agreement between the City of Port St. Lucie, Florida and Pent Airflow Technologies, LLC, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Council?
Motion to approve Resolution 26-R07.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. We have no new business. We are moving on to the city manager's report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a couple of items I want to highlight, part of your consent agenda item that were approved today. The real-time information center that we all are really behind 100%. Today we went ahead and approved the design. Hopefully that design will be done shortly, and then we can move on to construction. The approval of the major site plan for the Public Works building that we know that's way overdue, that we really need. So I appreciate you approving that. And then also the utilities, we approve an item that does what's called trenchless boring, where you be able to use a trench to be able to bore, and you have less disruption to the roadways by having that type of technology. So I really appreciate that. Also came in this afternoon, Andy Treadwell is asking for a letter of support for the Veterans Center, and I know Kate is here because I know she kind of cued me on that one this afternoon. So Kate, if you wanted to kind of go through the details of that request so we can get council approval to be able to send that letter out.
So thank you, Mr. City Manager. This letter is a letter of support to improve the Veterans Center of Excellence at the Pruitt campus in St. Lucie West, and seems to align with the city's support for veterans and improving that area of the Pruitt campus. So we just wanted to confirm that the City Council supported the request.
Okay. Okay. I'm okay with it.
Yes.
Good.
Well, thank you very much, and that
Thank you.
concludes my presentation.
All right. Thank you. Councilwoman Morgan. Yeah, that was easy.
I need an easy button. I only have two things. I did tour, which we had already mentioned earlier, the Sandpiper Bay Resort, the all-inclusive. What a refreshing new look. I wish them much success because it's heads and beds and tourist money, and it's beautiful. Pardon? Yeah. A third of the fifth set. Stop. Yeah.
You did a good job.
I'm gonna. But I loved the heart. the heart was just, it was beautiful. Yes. So it brought back a lot of memories of partying days of Club Med back in the day, but we won't go there. On the 14th, joint meeting with the county. Hope it continues, and I hope we follow up. And I hope to have it would be nice if we had another joint meeting, not just with the BOCC, but also include Fort Pierce and maybe in the school district one of these years. Maybe not in my lifetime, but maybe in y'all's lifetime. Let's see. If you know a kid, now you know a kid, because there were a bunch of them here tonight, who's been looking to learn about fishing. Now's their chance. The Port St. Lucie Police Athletic League will be hosting a series of free fishing clinics beginning January 31st. Boys and girls between the ages of 5 and 17 can learn fishing basics such as tying knots, using lures, and how to cast, and even more. Maybe they'll teach the fishermen how to be catchermen, because it's all about catching the fish. So visit pslpolice.com and search fish, and it'll have the schedule there of all the dates, and it's free. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. On the 14th, I also attended the St. Lucie County joint meeting, and I want to express how happy I was with the outcome of that meeting. I think there was a lot accomplished, and I think there was a lot more accomplished this meeting than we had in the prior meeting, and I think that kind of set the precedence for future meetings. And I really enjoyed the format that we had, and I think Kate did a phenomenal job coordinating all that. The 19th, I went to the Martin Luther King celebration at Sun Life Academy Church, and the 24th was at Whispering Pines for the Love Your Block celebration. And to see some of the residents that were there and for them to tell their stories and hear it again just made everything that we did to help them accomplish those goals, made it even more special. And I'm looking forward to the next year, this coming year of Love Your Block, because what the staff presented was it's going to be more community oriented as opposed to just individuals. So I'm anxious to see what is going to come out of that. And the mayor and I was introduced to this young lady, that the artist, and she did some fantastic drawings. So hopefully somehow or another we can incorporate the drawing that she had on something here in the city. So and then my announcement, if you want to have a good meal or just want to support a good cause, you can do both this week. Port St. Lucie Police Department's second Tip a Cop event this month will take place Friday, January 30th at Meeting Street Steak and Seafood from 5 to 9 p.m. The officers work alongside the waitstaff with fun supporting Special Olympic athletes. The first event at Tudor Fresco on January 16th raised $6,600, so thank you to everybody involved. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Thanks. Thank you, Madam Mayor. On the 14th, I attended the joint city-county meeting, and I ditto everyone's comments. I think it was a great format, and everyone did a fantastic job. And I look forward to future ones, and I know Mr. City Manager and the County Administrator are going to work on that shortly, and I think it's going to be very productive moving forward for our relationship. Then on the 15th, I attended the South Bend HOA meeting. On the 19th, I attended the Sandpiper Bay annual meeting. On the 21st, I attended the Treasure Coast Regional League of Cities. On the 22nd to the 23rd, I want to thank the City of Rock Hill for hosting us and welcoming us so we can learn more about their parks program as well as their BMX facility. I will not steal Brad's thunder tonight because I know he's probably going to want to give council a big update on that in the future. But we did learn a lot, and I know they're going to have some great ideas coming out of it. And I'm currently right now, this week, in the next couple of days, we're going to be here with the Florida League of Cities, 411 cities represented, for Legislative Action Days. I want to thank you, Mayor, for providing the letter that Council requested for the ADUs. I know that that's been sent to our delegation, and we'll be fighting some other really bad home rule bills this session, as well as educating our fellow elected officials in the state about the challenges of property taxes and how that could change the local level representation and, more important, local level services. I want to thank the city manager for sending me my update and my announcement, excuse me. Improvements continue to be made at Jessica Clinton Park. Last month, drainage upgrades on the softball fields were completed, ensuring safer and more playable conditions. Last week, crews began to resurface the basketball courts, and work is now underway on the tennis court area. When complete in February, there will be 1 tennis court and 4 pickleball courts with lighting available. The drainage improvements were critical for our girls softball team. When I was on site a few months ago with staff, they were trying to find a way to get it into the budget, and I want to thank the city manager for including that as part of some of the drainage expansions that we were doing in some of our other parks. So thank you so much, guys, and I look forward to seeing you guys when I get back. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, Vice Mayor. Councilwoman Bonner?
Thank you. So on the 14th, I did the city-county joint meeting. On the 16th, for the first time in over 2 years, because I had a scheduling conflict, I did coffee with the council with the chamber. So
I know, we were all shocked.
you're in for a treat in February because, well, I was chair of the Ed Foundation and our board meeting was at the same time. So for 2 years I couldn't do it, but they had a scheduling conflict this year, so I jumped at the opportunity. So watch it throughout February. You'll never see it again. So, and I attended Martin Luther King celebration on Monday. And then this morning, it was National Read for the Record Day, and so I read Watch Marcus Grow at Mariposa Elementary School, and enjoyed doing that. And my announcement, the city continues to bring opportunities for the public to access green spaces and places with new features at Duck Court Park, set to be installed in February. Located south of Becker Road and west of Florida's Turnpike at 452 Southwest Rad Court, Duck Court Park will have several new amenities for residents. Construction is beginning this week and expected to take up to 7 months, with the park opening later this year. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So I went to the MLK celebration at Sunlight Community Church. I want to thank the Caribbean American Cultural Group for putting on such a great presentation and celebration ceremony. I spoke at the Arbor Day event at our beautiful botanical gardens, spoke at our Love Your Block anniversary, and I agree with you, Councilman Pickett, to hear the stories of the residents and how such small little projects can make people so happy and join the community together. Especially in a time where there's a lot of division in the world. There's a lot of division amongst people for many different reasons, but to provide opportunities for our city, to provide those opportunities for neighbors to come together, learn about each other, meet, and then continue to spend time together and continue to want to help each other is just wonderful. And I'm looking forward to being able to do that throughout the entire city as we continue to move forward. I spoke at the Del Webb community. The joint meeting, I also agree, was great. I think we really set a great path forward for better communication, better relationships, and to keep making sure that our partnership continues to grow and becomes even stronger. I had a Florida Coast Medical Center board meeting, a Humane Society board meeting. Also happy to report that our 2 expansion buildings, hopefully we'll get our CO this week, so that we can start utilizing those buildings, because we have ever-growing population that is continuous of stray and homeless animals, and is our responsibility to make sure that they are taken care of. So we have built those buildings to deal with the expansive growth. Let's see, I did tour the Sandpiper Resort, and I agree, Councilwoman Morgan, it's very lovely. It feels very relaxing and calm, and you get that Zen vibe, and you feel like you are someplace else in a resort and somewhere else in the country or in the world, and it's just beautiful. I did love that heart element They're really tied in for the ceremony spot for people to have weddings and events. And it looks great. And I know it took a long time and there were a lot of challenges, but it was wonderful to be there. Also, our new Fire Station 20, we had a push-in ceremony for our ladder truck. And I want to thank the Del Webb community. The Del Webbers have unofficially named it their station. And there had to be between 30 and 40 Del Webb residents who came out for that push-in ceremony. We have never had such community participation of residents that showed up for a push-in ceremony. So it was very, very special. And they were all happy to be there and very happy to also lay claim to Station 20. So it was great. And I think that's it for those things. And for my announcement, it is that time of year when residents can come and join us all at our Citizen Summit. You can come have fun, speak up, learn about all the different projects that are going on in the city, give your voice and your opinion about what you want to see in the future, how you want your tax dollars spent at the IMPSL Citizen Summit. It is going to be Saturday, February 7th at the Community Center from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And for those who have not been, it is not your typical government meeting. Like I said, there are going to be every department there talking about everything under the sun, about all the different things that are going on in the city, and it's your chance for sharing your feedback, to talk one-on-one with our city departments, with city council members, and to help shape our future, most importantly. So hope to see as many people out on Saturday, February 7th at 9 o'clock to 1 p.m. at the Community Center. And with that, we are adjourned.